I ain't looking for no ugly actors out here. So when women sit here and say, "Oh, I want Prince Charming. I want him to save you and sweep me off your feet," I'm like, I had to think about that because at first I thought it was shallow, but then I was like, no, think about this. Cinderella's so for some reason she's surprisingly pretty. She has the Disney archetype of the princess, but she's just surprisingly pretty, and she's working with these obviously different looking sisters. A magical fairy godmother gives her this dress, and he sees her, this Prince Charming who got a lot of wealth, a lot of money, and he has to he says he sees something in her, right? Mind you, if they are at a wealthy party that wealthy people have to come through, and so he sees something. So ironically, she's the girl with the good heart, but he would never have seen her if she wasn't wealthy, if she wasn't wealthy looking, which is, that's a funny thing in and of itself, because if he was really looking for somebody who had character, and again, the expectation, society expectation at that time is that wealth was around wealth and poverty was around poverty, so there was no intermixing. But the thing is, just like, he was so astounded by her that he was like, yo, you gotta stay. And she was like, no, I gotta go before, my whole transformation ends. And again, it sounds crazy to him because it's just, he don't need to believe in magic. He don't believe in magic. He don't have to believe in magic. He don't need to believe in magic. But for her, magic is all she got right now because she's poor. And so for him, he's like, yo, you're something else. But again, it took her to be wealthy. It took her to have the appearance of wealth. Again, i.e. her appearance, to get noticed by this prince. It's for him to look past his wealth because, again, that's what he lives in. So he had to see that, get to know her, and then see beyond that and say, hey, oh wow, you're something different. You're not just like every other female who's just trying to look for a check, And it makes sense. It makes sense. But the problem is that this is a Disney story that a lot of people have subscribed to. And the thing is that there's only a few handful. They said, what, 1 million? There's about roughly 1 million of these millionaires. And I think that's just in America, but like 1 million of these millionaires. And several hundreds of millions of Americans that have a spectrum of wealth that's not super wealthy, that's not living comfortably. And it just made me think about how, especially today, where women want this, and again, I've seen a lot of these Kevin Samuels videos. I get it. He's kind of harsh. He's actually very harsh at times. And just, it sucks because I have to keep giving this disclaimer about like, hey, check out his old videos. He dog men too well and all that stuff. But it's like, you do it. If you don't, whatever, use your thinking cap. But I'm saying, like, it just appears to me that everybody has subscribed to this model of like, okay, I want my Prince Charming too. I want my life to be so worth it. And I seen this series on Netflix called Gretzko, and it's it's pretty much a Japanese version of what women go through and stuff like that, and the expectations and all that, whatever. But it's done in a cartoony format where it's like, don't take it too seriously, but this is kind of the stuff that like maybe they're going through because they're just like a new generation trying to figure life out, and they're dealing with all these struggles and stuff like that. And it just made me think like, reminded me of this episode where she was like, yo, all these managers trash out here. And again, she's like in her mid-20s, and all these dudes are like probably over 30, but they're well off pretty much. And some of them got all these weird personalities and stuff like that, ironically. But she is looking for a man, right? So that's like, she has her own deficiencies as well. But she's seen this dude and he had a great personality. She's like, oh, could it be fate? And again, she wasn't talking about it. It bothered me a little bit because it was like, she wasn't really looking at fate, I guess. She was looking at the price tag and seeing that, like, yo, I mean, the first season was about her trying to get married and leave work. So now that she's like trying to own that for herself. In the second season, spoiler alert, I mean, it's on the 4th season, so but she was like now about like she got somebody, but now he don't really want to get married, and she's like, actually, you got everything, you know. This dude was this mogul, I don't know, ambitious, wealthy person, got his own private jet and all that, but he don't want marriage because he don't believe in the idea of marriage. And she was like, I want it though. And the thing is that he loves her, he wants to be with her forever, he just don't want the idea of marriage, you know. And she wants to essentially make her own decisions, you know. And that's fine, but that's the impression I get, because I know people, they, you know, oh, you mentioned certain terms, you're this, you're that, and you're an incel. But I'm like, if this still is a commonality, it feels like, I wonder if it's true. And it made me think about that, like, yo, are these females really out here just, they want their own lives, but they also want somebody who can have them live very comfortably? So it's not even the fact that they're using their life of status to be a functional purpose. It's just like a personal fulfillment. And if this person can just sweep them off their feet so they won't have to work at all, then that'll be cool. But it's like, I want to do something fulfilling with my life. And I want to be locked down with like a literal contract of like wedding and marriage and stuff like that. And again, whatever, right? But I love you. It's just kind of strange to me because it's like they don't line up to me if you think about it, you know. Like I'm all for economic stability and all that, but don't make this a fairy tale when you say I'm looking for somebody with a good character, and then what you really mean is he's nice, but he has to have financial stability. And I mean not just financial stability, but financial comfortability, financial comfort. And so I found that to be kind of strange because I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. It makes no sense. And I'm like, I guess if that's what you want to do, dog. If you want that, then go for it, I guess, you know. But then I see some of Samuel's videos, and I can't say these women speak for a lot of women, but there's just a huge commonality with the women he hosts. A lot of these females that just want, because he'll tell them, he'll give them these specific tests, and he'll say, hey, what kind of woman are you? And he'll give a little rating system, and he'll have a certain, and again, in my mind, when he says he wants a 1 to 6 and a 8 to 10, he's differentiating average women and that spectrum from very below average to a little bit above average to an elite class of women who have been around old money, who have been around wealthy people and fame and celebrity status. They know what's up, they know what to expect from all that. It reminds me of the series The Game, but I don't really know if that's for certain, but it's like they know that environment, they know what these men are looking for, they know how to play the part, and not just that, but just they know they have a mindset that involves those arenas. And I don't know if that's good or not. Don't ask me about morality for that. But that's what I gotta say. It's just like some of these women from his show, Samuel's show, is that it's like they want a Cinderella, where they want these supermen. And again, mind you, Cinderella, like I don't know if I mentioned this, but these women, that's Prince Charming, this guy's in old money, you know, he's around old money. In the Bible about Ruth and Boaz is old money, or maybe new money, but he's an older man, right? And Samuel's tell these women like, yo, if you say you want all this stuff, you might need to search for an old dude, you know, because if you're gonna be searching for a new dude, a young dude, he's not gonna be searching for like people who are here who live in life already, you know. He's searching, if he's new in the game and he's really killing it like that, and he's making very good money, he's not gonna be searching for females who's just out here who's done some living, you know. He is searching for people around his level, man. He's not searching for like for instance, and I think this makes great Hallmark movies, is that like, yo, this Playboy millionaire sees something in this very average plain Jane female, and they get it. They'll say like, yo, she has something that these very hot women don't get. She got character, and she's got all these other things. And I'm like, that's great now, but like, let's get back to the reality, because sometimes reality is shallow. And I'm not gonna front. Sometimes reality is shallow. It's not. Sometimes reality ain't fair. When people say life ain't fair, and you was a nerd and I was a nerd in school, and I seen like, you know, some of these jocks and these insensitive D-bag dudes out here. Some of them, they got with women like that, you know, and some of these women, they got with them dudes like that. And who knows if they peaked or not? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Maybe they still out here shining, but like, yo, it ain't fair, and that's fine. It's totally fine to just see that. At least when you look at that and you see like, yo, these games aren't fair. You learn like, okay, what can I do then? You know, you can realistically look at the situation and say, hey, what can I do now? You know, man, like, this, it's tough out here, but like, what can I do now? Sorry. So at least, and I think as a male, you get reminded of that very quickly. When you're in school, when you're in, and not so much in college things will relax a bit, but it's still kind of similar, because people still look for like status and stuff. And I think like with Jordan Peterson, when he says like, you got that thing in your brain that's like telling you like, yo, this other dude's kind of killing it. Compared to him, it's okay, man, bro. But like, your boy's killing it, you know. Your brain can have this idea of like a pecking order. Like, yo, I know who's out here, who's killing it, who's not, and you know, I know where I'm at. And I think that's just important to figure out, like, you know, yo, you can't just say everybody's the same, man. You can't just say, oh yeah, it's just because of XYZ reason. Sometimes you don't succeed. Sometimes you don't get that person. Sometimes, and I think that's why I had my last video about like culture matters. Culture matters a lot. And sometimes for yourself, you gotta be better, man. Gotta be a person who is themselves and the best person of themselves, you know. Can't be out here saying I'm hoping for love, but you don't got your life together. You're not independent. You know, you don't got a job. You don't have a car. You don't have a place of your own. And yet you say you're looking for love. Because that's, and sometimes if you're older, you can't be saying you looking for love. So, like, I don't know. Sometimes you be just, I seen this thing. Forgive me when I say this. I seen this thing and I was like, yo, I seen this video and they said like this, was it documentary style? Kinda. And it was telling you spots about sex tourism. And these older dudes, I seen in the comments, they was like, yo, this female just wanted sex, bro. She just wanted to get it in. You know, she wasn't trying to have no conversation. She just wanted to get in. And I'm like, what do you expect from a place that's known for sex tourism? You think they just out here stupid? Just, yeah, man, whatever, bro. Yeah, man, you just fancy, bro. No, these are young people who know the game now. And that's something I'm like, it figures, suits them right to know the game well. Because these people can't be out here like, yo, whatever, bro. You know, I know these girls out here, bro. They really down for it, bro. It's like, nah, man. Some of these people are smart. They know what the game is, and they play the game accordingly. And if they want to have you pay a price so you can get some, whose fault is it? Is it you? I mean, is it them, or is it the culture that you've projected for them? That they know the game and they have expectations. Sorry, bro. So again, I'm like, some of these societies, I can't speak entirely for every society, but I'm just like, some of these societies are made, and I'm like, people think it's okay for them to like take advantage of society for sex tourism. I'm out here trying to get some, bro. It's terrible out here where I'm from. You know, man, I need to get a good submissive wife. I'm like, I don't particularly know what that means. I mean, maybe they want a stay-at-home wife who ain't trying to back talk or something. Again, I don't know. I'm not trying to look for no disagreeable person where I'm just constantly fighting them every time. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, I'm not looking for a robot. What are these people looking for? Are they looking for robots? But yeah, that's just, I guess that's the end of it. Like, our society's just gotten so backwards these days, where people think they're like, oh man, it's bad now, feminism, boo boo boo. But I'm like, people act like back in the day was just ideal, and it wasn't. It was very polarizing when you think about it. It's very polarizing. You think these men were out here just like, yo, I can get whatever I want. I'm like, it's probably the same thing. Because these people had high status, because people were ignorant, because people had a lot of money, and they had expectations for people who didn't have money. Like, I don't think there was much of a change. The culture's changed, where women are a lot more aware, and now they're like, okay, you can't really play dummy on me anymore. It's time to cough up them dollars. And again, I don't know if I can say I'm a feminist. I'm like a egalitarianist kind of dude, maybe a complimentary, whatever you want to call it. I have a fair idea of equality, you know, and yet I'm a Christian and I have certain leanings toward traditional values, but I just be thinking to myself with this whole paradigm about people who like, yo, I want a submissive traditional wife, and it's like, it was not perfect back then. Like, I talked to my mother about this stuff, and it was like, she was like, yo, people get beat, and people get beat. Women were getting beat left and right, and nobody was out here, no police was out here saying, dang, dog, you getting beat, all right, we better help you out. No, they was like, yo, it is what it is. Oh, dang, you must not have cooked his meal properly. You know, she ain't say this stuff word for word, but like, it was just like, yo, women, it was not cool out here for women, you know. So seeing how the pendulum switch with his own OnlyFans stuff, it's like, it suits us right. Suits them right. I'm not saying I agree with these women out here who, yo, man, these women have preying on lonely men. I don't like that either. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't like the other side where women are getting beat because it's a male-dominated society. I'm like, why can't we just have a considerate society where, you know, we share some respect of equality, where we're like, okay, you got your thing, I got my thing, you know, and we kind of switch hands, you know, we talk to each other, we communicate, you know, we figure out what our strengths are, and we play according to our strengths, you know. All right, I'm all tuckered out. All right, guys, bye.